Hi, this is Wayne Zell, and welcome to Blueprint for Wealth. Today, my special guest on Blueprint for Wealth is my friend and client and confidant, Bob Margolis. Welcome, Bob. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for inviting me. A real pleasure to be here.
Excellent. And let me give you a little bit of background on Bob and the company that he operates, TM Associates. TM Associates is an interesting company. It has been around for many years. They basically ensure every opportunity to maximize a community's value and profitability. Since 1978, the company has been around and has earned a reputation for diligence, dedication, and service throughout the Mid-Atlantic region and beyond, basically helping countless apartment communities, developing them, managing them, and meeting the highest expectations of their tenants and other owners that are involved. TM Associates has a management side and a development side, which we'll talk about with Bob today. He's going to tell us a little bit about the origins of TM, how they've grown so radically over the last 30, 40 years, and the challenges that he faces today. So, Bob, first, give us a little bit of background. I know TM stands for Tevis Margolis, your dad, who may he rest in peace. Tell us a little bit about how he started into this and how you got involved into it.
Sure. Well, my dad grew up poor, and he was in the Navy, and he was a basketball player. And afterwards, he met my mother, and they got married and moved to Washington, and he had several careers. He was a home improvement guy, was really his primary career. He'd call some guy up and say, "I hear your roof needs fixing," and then he'd find a roofer to fix it. And but Fuller Brush, quite a promoter. He's always been a promoter. And then he saw my mother's brother, my uncle, making some money, and said, "If he can do it, I can do it." And he went in on this land deal back in 1968. And then he got into the affordable housing business, and actually in 1968 started building his first affordable housing job, which is a HUD development in Winchester Gardens. So that was the first affordable housing development. So ever since then, over 95% of what we do is affordable housing and very low income.
So how have you grown it? Tell us where you are today and what is the secret to the growth that you've generated in
Sure. I wanted to say I am extremely fortunate. I've had a blessed career. I've grown up in this business from middle school, working in the summers, being with my dad. And then I went 2 or 3 weeks after college, started full time. I'm in my 38th year in the same job. It's really the only job I've had outside of college. And my dad had 38 developments that he had with different partners. He didn't manage anything. He was just a partial owner of 38 developments. And today we're over 300 developments. But it was one deal at a time. We lived deal to deal. We were bottom feeders, meaning, I couldn't compete with any of the big boys. I didn't have any big money. So I went to the most rural areas and where USDA money was available, did the small deals that nobody else wanted to do. But I was so lucky because I had so much fun going to these rural areas and meeting people. And also I had an airplane, and I would fly to these remote locations and even bike down to my meetings.
Is that right?
Yeah, really had the ultimate career.
Did you jump out of any helicopters? Because I know that's something that you've done before.
Right. No, not when I was working.
That's just for fun.
Just crashed my airplane once.
Oh, God. So the current state of the management side of the business, where you manage properties all across the Mid-Atlantic region and it's expanding, how many units are you managing today at TM Associates?
Yeah, we're managing just under 14,000 apartments.
Wow. And are of those apartments, do you own a significant number of those?
About 10,000 out of the 14,000 at the moment.
So that number compared to what your dad started with back in 1968 is, it's just dramatic growth. What do you attribute the growth to over the last 30 years, really?
Well, we just kept getting better at what we did, and then the tax credit program was an enormous break for us. Uh, and I was always rural until I slowly built up and was able to come back home. I was able to come and do suburban, and now I'm doing urban deals in downtown Washington. Uh, so it was learning and growing up in the business and gaining capital and paying off your debts and working to the next deal and
And just keep
just
growing.
a lot of exactly a
So
lot
the
of
tax credit
persistence.
deals that you're referring to are the low income housing tax credit, which really was initiated back in 1986 when I started practicing law. The largest source of affordable housing in the United States is funded by these deals. Are all your deals tax credit deals?
Just about. There's four types of affordable housing. There's naturally occurring affordable housing. There's HUD developments and USDA developments and state developments and tax credit only developments. Then HUD has nonprofit programs, but 90% of all new affordable housing is tax credit today.
And so you've been able to take advantage of that program and use it to your advantage to grow the company significantly. Tell us a little bit about some of the urban deals you're doing. I know you're working in Washington D.C. Those are some recent deals that you've begun developing. I know it's a challenge to do business in the district. Um, what's going on downtown?
I'm proud to say we're doing the finest affordable housing in Washington, D.C. today. At 1550 First Street Southwest, we just built an 11-story tower, 76 apartments.
Wow.
It's all 100% affordable, but 20% is for homeless.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then we're building a second tower next to it, 101 units, and it'll be the prettiest thing Washington's ever seen in affordable housing. It'll be a total of 178 units, and approximately about 15% of that one's going to be for homeless. DC special
15%, 20%, that's significant. Um, do you think that you're going to be able to lease up the rest of it with people that can afford to pay the rents?
Oh yeah, there's just a tremendous demand, and this is an incredible location right in between the baseball and soccer stadiums, and there's going to be a sports betting casino less than a block away.
Well,
It's a
yeehaw.
very exciting area. Yes,
That is, it's an incredible growth area, and I just thought it would be great to talk a little bit about that. Bob's done so well that he was recently awarded the Council on Affordable and Rural Housing Member of the Year Award for 2022. Tell us a little bit about that council and what the council tries to achieve and what that award means to you.
Sure. Well, I started out in the business doing U.S. Department of Agriculture Section 515 properties, which is rural rental housing. You think of HUD and housing and urban development. What USDA does rural rental housing. They have 14 or 17,000 developments across the country, about 420,000 apartments. And so that's how I started the business. I'm the fifth largest owner of that type of housing.
Wow.
And and so that's our association that represents us. It doesn't just represent us for the 515s anymore, but for any tax credit rural affordable housing.
Well,
So
congratulations.
it's quite an honor to get. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
congratulations. It's a fantastic award to win. I
We
know
have
that.
a huge we have a huge college scholarship, and it's very gratifying.
I know that you've experienced some challenges over the years in trying to grow the business and make it work for the people that work for you, but also the people that uh, that have been helping you along the way. What are the challenges that you've found were the greatest challenges that you had to overcome, and how did you achieve that? What were the ways that you were able to get over those challenges? So tell us first about some of the challenges you faced as an entrepreneur in building uh, this affordable housing business.
Yeah, sure. Well, first in the early days, I had to compete in several states because my chances of losing was great. So I would win one out of three, one out of four. So lucky to be in Maryland, you think about all the little state capitals, and they're all in driving distance. It's much different out west.
Sure.
And so that was the first, until I was able to build up a certain base. But then another interesting, towards the early middle part of my career, another very interesting thing happened. all these deals, these rural rental deals, were built in the 70s and 80s, and some of them are going downhill by the mid 90s, and none of them had ever been renovated. Well, I got into the first game of buying some cheap and renovating them, and there's a time span before you're able to renovate them, and the government didn't recognize me as a good guy coming in to fix things, but all of a sudden I was the bad guy that let the place go down. And so doing the first rehabs was very challenging, and getting the government to change their standards and procedures for a white knight, so to speak.
How did you do that? How did you overcome the government?
Well, it got really bad. I mean, then right around 2002, I had 4 lawsuits against the government. They were trying to put me out of business.
Okay.
And guess what? I was successful on all 4.
And that's excellent.
It was an enormous challenge to overcome. It was very depressing because I knew I was doing the right thing, but I was the bad guy because they didn't have people like me to come in and fix situations.
Yeah, because you were renovating dilapidated properties, or properties that had become dilapidated over time.
Right. I was getting rid of problems for the government and helping residents find better, affordable, safe, and decent housing.
Exactly. Aside from the government, were there any other challenges that you faced in growing this business? People, I think,
there's always the personnel challenges, and people have their time, and I've got no regrets on the way things have happened, but there's changes in leadership, and there's a lot of human resource issues. And there was one year the government tried to shut us down for fraud, waste, and abuse in my insurance program, and we were victorious. But, you just take what comes, I guess.
I like your attitude. It's very, easygoing. You don't get upset or emotional about it. You just deal with it, right? And I think that's the right way.
Business.
So, as a advice to a young entrepreneur, if you had to give advice to a young entrepreneur who wants to get into the housing game, what would that advice be? How can they do it?
Specifically, affordable housing is such a double bonus. It's a good way to make money, and you're doing good at the same time. There's just no better business. And it's about to be opened up and increased by 50% by the government.
How?
So it's just a great thing to get into, and I highly encourage anybody. But for success, it takes a lot of hard work for a long time, putting forth your best efforts. At a certain point, the secret to success is finding younger people that do it better than you. And so delegation, organization, picking the right people, and bigger and better. And just you keep going at it. You can't be too careful sometimes. The great thing about affordable housing is everyone's rooting for you. Everyone wants to make the deal happen. And it's not that way in the conventional world.
I noticed that you have a very diverse and inclusive management team on the management side of the house. It's really very intriguing to me to see the people that are surrounding you, helping you grow and manage all the properties that you've got. You have over 450 employees, don't you, today?
I have almost 600 employees.
600 employees. And so, you're providing not only housing for people that can't afford it generally, but you're also providing jobs and job sustenance for people in those communities, which is a beautiful thing. Is it hard finding good people to help run these projects?
It's always hard. There's always a lot of turnover. We've gotten a lot better. There was a time we were having 20% turnover in management. COVID's actually helped us. And also, I want to have the best companies. So I'm very in a fortunate position. I have a development and a management company, and my profitability is not my number one incentive in those companies. My incentive is to have the best companies and do the best I can for my employees and my tenants. And that's truthfully, because I own so much. The properties take care of my ownership, and that's what I really care about. So it's wonderful that I can just try to have the best company and not try to hold anything back. So we do training, we do 401k, we have a healthcare plan, we have an intranet with TM University, and we have a personal touch between employees. We have retreats and training, so People love working for me. I'm very fortunate.
I think
And
you're a good boss. I think that's
also, it's interesting that the average age is in the early 50s, my employees. They're females. The managers are almost all females. The maintenance are almost all males.
interesting.
So we have trainings of either all females or all males. It's kind of fun.
That's excellent. Well, we've been talking with Bob Margolis, who is the CEO and owner of TM Associates. They do management and development of affordable and rural housing. And we're very fortunate to have you as a guest today because your business is very unique and there aren't a lot of people that do this well. And you're having been recognized for the CARH Member of the Year. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on your success. And thank you so much for being a special guest on Blueprint for Wealth.
Thank you so much, man. It's a real honor.
And stay tuned for a special educational moment. We're going to actually talk a little bit about the low-income housing tax credit, what it is, how it works, and if you are interested in doing affordable housing, how you can get into that market. Thanks a lot. We'll be right back.